Hey everyone, welcome back to more of the Fermi Paradox. I'm DisturbingPuppet. So we are continuing with this game where you basically play as a galactic gardener trying to keep various different alien species alive, potentially making it out of civilization, uh, progressing to the stars, contacting one another, trading, and reaching the singularity. And at that point, things kind of end. Either that or everybody dies, and that kind of ends things too. So we currently have 3 alien species in this section of the galaxy that we're kind of babysitting. The first one that rose up was the currently now Dorloth Assemblies, an intelligent plant species. If we want kind of a quick recap of stuff, we can kind of look at a little bit of information about their system, things that have happened over time. So this is an ice world where intelligent plants have started thawing out large sections of the ice and living in them, which seems like kind of a bad idea. But they're using that to kind of gain access to resources in the planet. Next one that came up was the Maru, a race of carnivorous, at least somewhat aggressive dinosaur people who have become less and less aggressive over time. They nearly got wiped out by some ecological changes that happened and have pretty well recovered, actually. So they're doing pretty well. Yeah, actually getting pretty close to getting to what Iron Age kind of thing. The last species that rose up was currently now the Batir forests, another intelligent plant species. So this is sort of it's a bunch of canyons where various different life forms live in the canyons, kind of jungle-like, and then upper areas of the plateaus are kind of desolate of life. Interesting kind of idea for a planet. Another life's will find a way kind of thing. Intelligent plants coming in. I do like how things have changed. The animation. We're now carrying around some lights and various different sorts of bags and things. It looks like. But yeah, these guys surprisingly utopian. As we go through, we're kind of balancing our progress towards the next age. Population growth, resources, how long we've got resources for, potential losses in a war, and how ethical we are. Eventually, we'll be making it into space with everybody, and we'll see how things go. At the moment, yeah, as far as resources go, the Dorloth are in the worst shape. 456 years, they just got into a new age where they're starting to travel around on ice floes, so kind of making glaciers as a way to travel the ocean. So they're sort of like turning glaciers into temporary ships, essentially, to travel around. Yeah, we might want to sit on them because they've, again, in not a great situation as far as resources go. We need to make it to the next text level, and then we'll kind of change the resources we use. So I'm going to sit on these guys for a bit and see what I can do about that. Now travel to the furthest reaches. Great flows of ice, building capitals everywhere on the planet. And we might have a new alien species here. Kepler. Yeah, I'm not sure how many alien species we can have active at the same time. I think we might even be able to get one in every system. A new civilization is born. A life form of the primordial world Kepler-4 has started making simple tools and developed a rudimentary language, but which species will form a Stone Age civilization in the Kepler system? Let's see what our choices are. Oh, crazy bug people. Kepler, a red dwarf star, is orbited by lava planet Kepler-4 and various rocky planets. Continents of this planet consists either of lush green jungles of rocky wasteland full of massive magma pits. The resilient flora of Kepler-4 consists of trees and bushes that grow their branches in circular spirals. Sheets of rock float on the vast lava ocean, forming temporary islands and continental bridges. So, balanced. Weird. I really wish it wouldn't pop up. That would pop up wouldn't happen there. I find that really irritating. I don't like that at all. Yes. Maybe there's a way to get rid of that. Doesn't look like it. All right. So yeah, it's fine. You can hover here for a second and kind of look at them, but then it sort of covers up the art, which is really dumb. So yeah, not a fan of that. So balanced species. The Wandor, gentle and big reptiles, they roam the wide jungles of the primal world, always with a pleasant smile on their faces. Why it always switches to the others? Like it really wants this species, it seems like. As soon as I go off it, it immediately switches to that. So yeah, they're kind of weird-looking giant lizard people. Standard species, that's freaky. The Noya, resourceful and competitive packs of tall, colorful snake people. They breed in the hot water basins of the lava planet and spend their adult life overground. I think they mean above ground? I don't know. That's kind of horrifying. Why is there an eye in their mouth? Unbalanced species, the Vakai. These poisonous humanoid insects gather in large swarms. They dwell in the magmatic wastelands of Kepler-4 and attack every life form that enters their territory. I kind of like that, actually. I don't really want to spend any points, and I also don't really want freaky lizard people. So you know what? Let's have aggressive bug people in the galaxy. That's fine. Everything will totally work out. So the Vakai hives. On Kepler-4, the Vakai civilization is born. So yeah, eating beasts at the moment. Fairly dystopian, relatively warlike. Growth is pretty good. We can kind of let them run for a while. So they're actually there. So they're next to like the very peaceful utopian plant people here. Then we have sort of the dinosaur people here who have actually gotten pretty nice over time, and our original species here, the Dorloth. So that leaves 6 others, because Glies could also form life, potentially. Alright, so here we are trying to keep an eye on things. They need to make it to the next tech age before resources run out. They've got 4 to 56 years. Population growth is too high, I think. Dorloth grow to fear their ruthless senators. Nope, the forests are developing. Paradigm shift and Vex. Things are going well. Ship of state. With the establishment of the first city-states, enlightened thinkers argued that the governance should be given to philosopher monarchs. These benevolent leaders with absolute power should rule the state like a skilled and professional captain commands a ship sailing the sea regions of Vexus. They posit that, in order to reach the tranquil waters of peace and prosperity, a wise navigator must interpret the ethical star map for the material to follow. Until political power and philosophy entirely coincide, cities will have no rest from evils. Socrates. So, cultural ascent. Establishment of philosophical monarchs inspires many Batir to become philosophers and challenge the absolute power of the rulers. Culture of inquiry and dialogue spreads all over Vexus. So generally just very nice. Cultural expansion massively ramps up growth and drops resources. New form of government inspires Batir plantings to form their own expanding city-states, but the ideas and ideals behind the philosopher monarchs are quickly lost. Cultural descent. The rising city-states are seen as a threat to neighboring forests, whose wardens rally scythe-bearers and fire catapults to overthrow the philosopher monarchs. So much less peaceful, much less ethical. They're actually pretty good on resources and population growth, so I think cultural expansion is fine. So it's just spreading more smaller city-states, I think, is fine for that. That can work. So, masters of mental gymnastics, the thinking monarchs were so skilled at philosophically equating their own benefit with that of the Batir, they even had themselves convinced that they were wise and just. But as time wore on, the lurking temptation to take advantage of their power revealed the ethical implications of absolute rule, of course. So let's head back to the Dorloth, my original plant people. Yeah, let's start moving towards the next age if possible. Great academic. We'll try to drop the growth too if I get a chance. A war wouldn't be a terrible idea either, honestly, if it comes up. Dorloth glass poems represent harmony on Rigel 7, right? Because they're the ones who built the giant glass palaces. So yeah, they've got a thing for glass palaces. The Batir forests are very obsessed with death and sort of honoring the dead. And the Maru are kind of in the middle of everything. Nothing too crazy. They did have a habit of potentially over-hunting, but we kind of nipped that in the bud, and things have gone well since then. Yeah, nothing too nuts with the Maru that I can recall. The Vakai hives, I think, could be kind of interesting. How are they doing at the moment? They're progressing very slowly to the next tech level, but that's fine. They're very dystopian. Not that I'm surprised. They're bug people. Alright, let's keep an eye on the Dorloth for a bit here. Angel 7 floats in a vast realm of ether. Space is ether. Dorloth composed an epic poem recounting their history. Oh, Maru have moved into a new technological age. Good for you guys. Maru reached the Iron Age. Empires and trading states rise to power in the Iron Age. The metalworking Maru forged tools and developed the skills needed to create simple machinery. While expanding, theological discourse could provide them with a sense of purpose and a moral compass. Organized religion also has a potential to bring about great atrocities. From here now is the Age of Iron. Never by daytime will there be an end to hard work and pain, nor in the night to weariness, when the gods will send anxieties to trouble us. Hesiod. So we can have wisdom. Monks transcribe knowledge in books that scholars are eager to get their hands on. As ever, Maruity looks to the heavens for guidance. Okay, so now they're Maruity. Advancements. The Maru produce mighty blades by mining and smelting resources from deep within Tau City 3, and new construction techniques accelerate their city building. Power. In epic dynasty wars, Maru iterate siege weapons against the well-fortified castles of their foes. I mean, we did go through a pretty massive die-off in the past. Current war would only kill about 600,000, but the population isn't super high either. Wisdom doesn't actually cost me anything, which is kind of surprising. Alright, we'll just go Wisdom because it's free. I mean, why not? So yeah, most Maru died out when they failed to adapt to a massive ecological shift. Afterward, their culture came to value biodiversity. Maru can now increase the size of their cities and access more regions on Tau City 3. So yeah, they're doing pretty well, although they do only have 398 years before they're going to run out of resources. So that's really not good, actually, considering they're pretty far behind. So they're at 11%. Where are the Dorloth at their timeline? 31%, 333 years. Growth is 28%. See the massive difference in population, 328.5 million. Let's actually... Oh, the Maru have formed republics now. I didn't notice that as we went through. The Maru republics. Yeah, let's sit on the Maru for a bit. We want to kind of usher them into the next age if possible. Iron Age technology allows the Maru to harvest biomass on the surface of Tau City 3. Questioning life after death. Let's get an event. Maru composed an epic poem recounting history. Dorloth Assemblies have a development event. Well, that doesn't look good. A great war threatens Rigel. Colonial warfare. The Dorloth crossed the oceans of Rigel 7 in search of wealth, subjugating native societies and other continents in the process. The plunder of the new lands leads to frequent conflicts between the colonists and indigenous groups. We're all plant people, though, so okay. After the battle, all men, women, and children who fell into the German hands, wounded or otherwise, were mercilessly put to death. Then the Germans set off in pursuit of the rest, and all those found by the wayside and in the Sandveld were shot down and bayoneted to death. Jan Cloet, statement on the Herero genocide. So, warfare. It's going to cost me a lot to go with peace. And actually, a war wouldn't be too bad, except it is going to affect my resources. So, peace, foreseeing centuries of bloodshed and stressing the immortality of their oppression of the native peoples, dominant leaders sign a treaty of non-interference in their former colonies. I mean, that'd be ideal. Regular conflict. The Dorloth conquest bring death to many in the colonies, 25.2 million casualties. That's going to drop how much resources we use. It is going to drop our growth a bit. Total war. Colonialism is met with insurgency in the colonies and battle between colonists vying for controlled territory. Rigel 7 falls into constant state of war, 75.7 million casualties. That actually isn't too bad of a result. Because it should buy some time for them to get to the next age. This doesn't affect their technological level, surprisingly. It will negatively impact their resources, but also population growth and population. I find it kind of funny, the idea of a bunch of plant people engaging in massive warfare, but maybe we'll just do a regular conflict. See how that progresses. So, colonial warfare. Yeah, it didn't help that much. 177 years. During the colonial history of the Dorloth, many native societies in Rigel 7 were oppressed or decimated by more powerful colonial forces from other continents. It didn't buy me much time. These guys are in trouble again. Societal collapses being a problem. Assembly established. Let's drop growth. Many Dorloth perished during a deadly pandemic. That's going to buy some more time. Nothing really. Growth is still awfully high. Type of ice launcher, so that's going to push up their potential there. Anything that's going to boost their resources or drop their growth is kind of what I'm looking for. Depleted land region recovers under the care of Dorloth's slow scryers, so that's good. We'll get tech going a little bit more. Great academic. I think they'll be fine. Alright, the Vikai hives have something going on. Reduction in Kepler. Sacred Prey. The Hunter-Gatherer Society of the Vikai has created a calendar that names each year after a key prey animal. Each time the calendar cycles back to a specific animal, it is considered sacred, and hunting it is forbidden for that year. The spiritual practice allows the animal population of Kepler-4 to recover, protecting it from overhunting. It's actually not a bad idea. We were starving when we found the planet so ripe and full of meat. It was not easy, but I kept control of the hive. We left enough of each species on the world so that we could feast again if some future generation needed to return. Commodora Tyr, Vikai War Queen. So, civilizational pillar. Every hive adopts a new calendar. Prey animals are able to replace their numbers at regular intervals. Regular developmental. The calendar becomes widespread. Not all Vikai are devout enough to entirely stop hunting the sacred animals. Dead end. The Vikai come to see the sacred animals as gift from the gods. They begin performing a ritual of thanks before each hunt, but consume as many as ever. I don't really want to spend any points on you guys. You're fine for resources, so we'll just go regular development. So most everybody adopts the calendar. That's fine. Theoretically, the Vikai religion followed a calendar that prohibited them from hunting specific prey animals during specific years. In practice, the diets of Vikai were often dependent on key species, and many ignored the religious rules in order to survive. Depleted region recovers, that buys them. They've got plenty of time, they're fine. Let me kind of quickly check on everybody. Yeah, you guys are in trouble. We could actually give you more resources, so that's something. The Dorloth, also not in great shape. Let's give the Maru some additional resources here. Maru Ballad represents harmony. Growth is pretty high. There's actually not that many Maru, which is a bit surprising why they're running out of resources so quickly. Yeah, they're kind of weirdly conservationist dinosaurs. But very peaceful, surprisingly. influential Morrow counselor rises to power. Let's go random here. Same thing. Hey, the Batir forests make it to the next stage. Reach the pollination age. Advanced metalworking techniques make it possible to maintain large soil fields and create effective weapons to fend off fauna. Most importantly, pollinating insects are now domesticated, sparking a social revolution of directed reproduction. The lovely flowers embarrass me. They make me regret I am not a bee. Emily Dickinson. Alright, wisdom. Study of self-pollination opens up new discussions about the nature of self, stewardship of the planet, and an investigation of ancient taboos. Advancement. Using metal tools and controlled burns, large regions are cleared of competing flora. Batir spread rapidly, turning Vex's soil to their needs. Power. Selective breeding creates a warrior class bristling with thorns and protected by thick bark. Lethal leafcutter insects are domesticated for use in battle. That's interesting. Considering these guys are kind of utopian, it's sort of weird that they would suddenly go in that kind of a area. They're quite peaceful as well. So it's not a huge issue. I mean, wisdom is free and helps us push towards the next age a little faster. They've got 491 years. Growth is a bit high. Yeah, we'll just go 8. Wisdom, I think. So just kind of a recap of their obsession with death there popped up. Yeah, so everybody is in a bit of trouble when it comes to resources. 148 years is probably fine for them to get to the next age. The Morrow, 77 years. That's much more of a problem. Alright, let's go with the Morrow here for a bit. Resource management methods, so that kind of stalled things out a bit. Let's drop growth a bit. Battle over an important Morrow city is won by an army of sword fighters. Something random. Left console dies. Our republics have something going on. Trading caravans. In order to travel more safely, merchants begin to band together into larger teams, transporting many tons of goods between republics. These trading caravans traverse the open land regions of Tau City 3, exchanging goods and ideas from all corners of the planet. The dogs bark, but the caravan moves on. Urban proverb. So, trading becomes a civilizational pillar. Ideas circulate alongside exotic textiles and spices. Regulate developments. Vast caravan networks allow spies to relay information more easily. Morrow republics restrict the flow of trade with increased security measures. Dead end. Major trade routes are blocked when secret armories are claimed to be found amongst merchant gangs. I really don't want the growth to go up, honestly. But I think they'll make it to the next age okay. Yeah, I mean, trading is generally good. Trading of ideas, let's let that go. Regular development. So, suspicious of outsiders, local authorities ransacked caravans and guarded checkpoints along trade routes. Smaller convoys skirted around major settlements to avoid such scrutiny, while the few who could afford to obtain permission colluded with other sanctioned merchants to form caravan cartels marked by price fixing and other tricks. Okay, we don't want population growth. We'll go random here. Innate injustice causes suffering and despair, looks the motto. Let's push the technological development. Workable scholar. Resource crisis. So resources exhausted 100 years, but they're 99% to the next age, so they should be fine. Scarcity crisis in Tau City. Wood scarcity. Forest areas are becoming scarce in the Tau City system. The effects of swamp gas lamps brought the Mars civilization to a breaking point. While they are dealing with the resource scarcity, will the republics find ways to prevent the complete exhaustion of their environment, or will they turn against each other? It is uncanny how aware most extinct Sapiens species were of the point of no return, regardless whether they just started burning down their last primeval forests or depleting all the valuable asteroids in their star system. So many just march toward their downfall. Pseudo-archaeologist. We're fine, though. They're almost to the next age, so they'll change the resources they need, so that'll be okay. Precaution. Our republics prepare for a future without wood, where their consuls preserve the environment of Tau Ceti or deny their people access to essential resources. Crisis. Scarcity causes discord and competition. Knowledge diminishes while the republics of Tau Ceti compete for dwindling resources. Or war. Mara pick up the longsword and fight over access to remaining forest areas. Night regiments destroy entire cities in the so-called Wood Wars. I don't think we have to do that. So we can kind of go... I mean, either one of these are fine. 53%, 55%. We don't really want knowledge to decrease. Let's go just precaution, because we're almost to the next stage, so it'll be fine. To deal with the scarcity in wood, the Mara Republic start denying many of their people access to essential resources. The consuls of Tau Ceti would rather let their own kind perish than address the effects of swamp gas lamps. The implications of this line of thought are that since it is precisely the poor who are the surplus, nothing should be done for them except to make their dying of starvation as easy as possible. Frederick Engels. Decline. So, Mara dethrone any consuls that use the wood crisis to depopulate the underprivileged of Tau Ceti. Regular development. Scarcity hits the Mara hard. Their consuls lead them down a dark path, ensuring that more resources will be available to less people, thereby valuing forest areas over lives. Total decline. Entire cities vanish after a generation. The Mara suffer greatly under the regulations of their consuls. If they survive the wood crisis, they will have paid a high price. Regular development should be fine. We're going to be out of this age very, very quickly, so we'll go with the regular decline. Population growth is too high anyway, so that's fine. Scholars manipulate for their own ends. New technological age for the Mara republics. Mara reached the nautical age. Mara developed vessels capable of exploring the farthest corners of their planet. Flourishing traffic of goods and ideas advances the field of navigation, chemistry, and engineering. To safeguard the accumulated knowledge of Mara civilization, emerging universities begin to house collections of printed books. We found another land far on the other side of the ocean, a place to breed and to feed on helpless creatures. It is truly a paradise. Okay, didn't help. Resource scarcity in 59 years. Well, actually, no, that should switch. Once we go in, it'll change over. Wisdom. Discover new lands and peoples inspires the Mara to re-examine social and scientific principles. Advancement. Exploration encourages to engineer large vessels and better food preservation to keep up with the demands of global trade. More power. While rough pirates sail the sea regions of Tau Ceti 3, the Mara craft new weapons to conquer, plunder, and wage war on each other. I mean, that's tempting. Dinosaur pirates is an interesting idea. I'm not sure what we're going to have as far as resources next. Currently on forest, it's probably going to be some kind of mining. Advancement is tempting. That'll get me some more resources. Wisdom is free, though, and it's like it advances us to the next stage, so yeah, just go with that. Mara assemblies. Mara can now journey to the farthest reaches of Tau Ceti 3 and build capitals everywhere. Okay, so we're on to ore, but there's only 54 years worth of ore. That is a huge problem. So we've gone from one critical resource problem in wood, and now over to ore, and the population here really isn't that big, which is kind of crazy compared to the other planets. So I'm not sure if it's just a very resource-poor planet or what. Let's just quickly take a look at everybody else and see what's going on. Dorloth, they should be fine. They've got 126 years to get to the next age. I think they'll be alright. We can kind of let them just sort of keep on trucking. The Maru, as we saw, are in trouble. I think we're going to babysit them a bit. The Batir, they've got 300 years. They're only about 30% up. There's actually not that many Batir either, 39 million. They're pretty utopian, so they're just progressing along just fine. They're now the Batir Seed Fellowships. Take a look at the Vakai. Vakai hives. Yeah, there's plenty of life here for them to eat. Growth is pretty high, but not crazy high. Yeah, totally fine. So yeah, the Maru are the most in trouble. So even though we just got to another age, I'm going to have to kind of babysit the Maru some more. Nautical age technology gives the Maru access to minerals and biomass all over the planet. 40 years. Maru grow to fear their ruthless senators. Resources. Maru landscapers established new resource management methods. That bought me not much. Something's going on with the Dorloth assemblies. Depopulation in Rigel. Frozen monsters. Frozen in ice for untold years before Dorloth ever evolved, monsters of an ancient age have thawed and are moving across Rigel 7 to reestablish their reign of the planet. Monsters are tragic beings. They're born too tall, too strong, too heavy. They're not evil by choice. That is their tragedy. They do not attack people because they want to, but because of their size and strength. Mankind has no choice but to defend himself. Shiro Honda. How is this going to play out? So, prevention. Monstrous creatures are surprisingly easy to tame and become popular pets, even though they're huge. Ice monsters avoid the Dorloth capitals, but lone wanderers in the ice plains regularly go missing. So that decreases population. That's actually pretty good. Massive depopulation. Ancient colossi move swiftly through the ice plains and frequently launch assaults on entire capitals, causing regular bloodbaths. That's kind of funny. I don't know if that would be enough to drop me to negative growth. But these guys are really close to going to the next era anyway. Let's just go regular. So, yeah, they're out there. They pick off random raw stragglers. Not a big deal. We'll plant people anyway. The initial appearance of the ancient monsters panicked the Dorloth. They were rarely a threat to capitals, though they did prey on travelers from time to time. Okay, so we have to head back. Yeah, they're going to be fine. They'll get to the next age. We have to sit on the Maru. They're probably doomed. 29 years. Growth is still pretty high. Nowhere near making it to the next age. Give me something. Academics manipulating the assemblies. I don't want growth to go up. 6 years. Things are going to collapse. I can get some more resources. Let's do that. Resource management methods. So still 6 years. Oh, Dorloth made it to the next age. Let's see what we got. Dorloth have reached the industrial age. The Dorloth start to study electricity, steam power, and machine manufacturing in the industrial age. Harnessing the power of radio waves might allow them to send signals into outer space, but this civilization could accidentally eradicate itself as weapons development thrusts forth. Interference with the planet poses a serious threat to the ecosystem that has sustained Dorlothity through the ages. Modern bourgeois society, with its relations of production, of exchange, and of prosperity, society that's conjured up such gigantic means of production and of exchange, is like the sorcerer, who is no longer able to control the powers of the netherworlds, whom he has called up by his spells. Karl Marx being overly dramatic. Okay, they've got 285 years minimum. So wisdom cost me a little bit. Age sees an explosion in Dorloth potential for telecommunications via radio waves. Mass-produced goods, including new medicine, could improve the lives of many. Advancement. Hard work and ingenuity are needed to manage rapid urbanization without critically harming the planet. Train networks cross vast swaths of Region 7, offering high-speed mobility for both freight and passengers. Power. Dorloth focus their efforts on designing tanks, bomber planes, and simple automated weapons for increased leverage against enemies. Naval warfare also gets industrialized. Growth is okay. This gets me resources, but also buffs growth, which I'm not a fan of. I think I'm going to go with wisdom to kind of feed them into developing radio technology, a bit more mass production. Maybe that'll help out. So they're on to coal fields. Only 285 years of coal fields. But their tech is 10%, so probably 10% of like pop here, so I think they'll be okay. The Maru are now at 15 years somehow. Yeah, let's drop some population growth. Battle over an important Maru capital is won by an army of musketeers. 8 years before we run out. There's no way we're making it out of this age. Maybe if a big war happens, that might be okay. Maru established a new assembly. So now resources exhausted in 98 years. Went up. Scarcity crisis in Tau City. Maybe because they're sort of going to ration it, so it's going to take longer. Ore veins are becoming scarce in the Tau City system. The effects of swamp gas lamps through the Mars civilization to a breaking point, which doesn't make any sense. While they're dealing with a resource scarcity, will the assemblies find ways to prevent the complete exhaustion of their environment, or will they turn against each other? So yeah, we had ran out of wood, and they wanted to blame that on swamp gas. Now we're running out of ores, and they want to blame that on swamp gas too. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Okay, our choices are precaution. Maru Assembly prepares for a future without ore. Will their senators preserve the environment or deny people access to essential resources? 54% chance of decline. Crisis, 56% chance of decline. Oh, chance of hostility is 56%. Scarcity causes discord and competition. Knowledge diminishes while the assemblies of Tau City compete for the dwindling resources. Just straight up war. Maru pick up their gunpowder muskets and fight over access to the remaining ore veins. Galleon fleets destroy entire capitals in the so-called ore wars. 2.5 million casualties. That is going to keep the population under control, but it's also going to use resources, which is unfortunate. This costs points and may not even work, so there's still a chance of a decline. This is chance of war, 56%. So 56% chance here that we just go to war anyway. So I think we just go for the war. So let's have a massive resource war, I guess. Sure. Once powerful assembly falls on Tau City 3. Okay, so 77 years. Growth is down, but it's still pretty high. Get more resources. Resource methods. Keep things stable. Let's drop growth some more. More wars reduce the population. So it's dropping the population and the growth at the same time. Vakai have something going on. Extinction in Kepler. Rise of the Beasts. Aggressive predator beasts on the primordial world Kepler 4 savagely attack their intelligent tool-making neighbors. The creatures target settlements and replicate fast, jeopardizing the survival of the Vakai. It sounds like the Vakai fighting the Vakai. But this was the land of the ever-memorable beast, the Napoleon Bonaparte of wolves. The 8 women and children and shepherdesses celebrated for their beauty. He pursued armed horsemen. Robert Louis Stevenson. Close call cost me. The Vakai react quickly and defend their settlements by building complicated traps. Minimal survivors. The predators are a horrific menace to the Vakai. Many settlements fall, and the survivors flee to remote islands where the beasts cannot reach them. Lose 4.8 million, which is most of them. Complete extinction. The Vakai are no match against the monstrous animals. Younglings are eaten in the night, and hunters are overpowered by sheer numbers. After only a few generations, the Vakai are completely extinct. Interesting. I'm willing to spend 10 points for a close call to keep the bug people in it. I think that's worthwhile. We can do something bad to them later. I think that's fine. The Kai were highly skilled trap builders and cleverly defeated the dangerous beasts of Kepler 4. Yeah, they've got plenty of resources. Growth is fine. Population's fine. Let's go check on the Maru assemblies again. 72 years. Yeah, war is currently going on. Many perished, died during a deadly pandemic. Growth is still positive. Or use books to spread lies and superstition. Okay. Not what I usually assume having to do with war. I think we're getting more of these negatives because we went to the war. Many more perished during a deadly pandemic, so another pandemic kicks in. Let's get more resources. Depleted land region recovers. Still relatively peaceful, actually. Let's push a little bit more ethics. Yeah, it's kind of saying here, like, a large amount of Maru got denied essential resources and died in order to get the amount of Maru in the woods balanced again. Not really, not that many died, honestly. Just kind of the growth dropped. More are dying now during war wars. Sure, we'll push up peace a little bit. Go for a bit more ethics. Yeah, we should make it to the next age, okay? Hey, the Batir Seed Fellowships have something going on. Knowledge and Vex. Well, that's kind of freaky looking. Great libraries. To preserve their gathered knowledge through the ages, Batir erect magnificent libraries in their major orchards. Valuable books and manuscripts are painstakingly transcribed, and ancient scrolls are preserved in these hallowed halls. The contents of the great libraries range from religious manuscripts to mathematical treatises, some mystical tomes even transcending distinct genres. Libraries were full of ideas, perhaps the most dangerous and powerful of all weapons. Throne of Glass, Sarah J. Maas. Oh, these guys are actually going to run out super quick too, but they just had something change. So the libraries... Yeah, this would push them over without a problem. Civilizational pillar. To unify the lore of the Batir, the vast libraries are made open to all. Visiting scholars bring rare books from their homelands to promote cultural exchange. Regular development. Library access is restricted as competing groups of Batir aim to hoard knowledge for themselves. Dead end. Shifting religious views and new leaders coming to power. Teachings of old are regarded as blasphemous. Libraries are closed and in some cases destroyed by fire. Yeah, we'll go civilizational pillar. So these guys honor the dead and have vast libraries, sounding more and more Egyptian as we go along. So they're gonna not quite get to the next... Yeah, not quite get to the next one. They will in a second here. Let's go take a look at the Maru. Okay, I'll just progress through. Let's drop the population again. Another pandemic. Seed Fellowships moving to the next age. Which is the Float Age. Great floating islands of ocean flora allow the Batir to reach all corners of Vexus. These living rafts provide nutrients and stability for long voyages. The largest serving almost as floating cities, a new age of exploration has begun. Legends tell of a time when we crossed the great ocean on our root planet on a bed of softest algae. I take comfort when I imagine such a thing, dreaming of the gentle swaying as the warm sun fills me with life. So wisdom's going to cost me. Exploration allows them to personally connect, realize the same warm sun fields every individual on Vexus. Advancement, Batir used the great floating islands to colonize empty lands across the planet. Soon new library orchards are spreading up everywhere. Power, war barges are constructed to maintain control of the all-important waterways. The first incendiary bombs are invented, a deadly weapon on land and sea. I mean, as tempting as that is. Let's just go with advancement. It doesn't cost me anything. Spreading across the planet. Totally fine. They do have a bit of an issue in that they've only got 140 some years. Growth is awfully high. So they're actually running into a bit of trouble as well. They're not very warlike. Yeah, maybe we might have to babysit these guys a bit after the Maru advance. Okay, let's do this. An army of musketeers is defeated by a galleon's fleet belonging to a powerful Maru assembly. Growth is now down to 8%, so that's going to help us out. Ideally, as we get kind of high, we want to cap it, maybe 5-ish%, something like that. Growth is at 8. Let's just go resources then. So that just kind of stalled it there, didn't do anything. See if we can make it to the next age here before we run out. Does Tau City 3 revolve around our sun? Something's happening for the Dorloth Democratic Republics. Rigel sending signals into space. Dorloth jazz music. A unique musical style emerges on Rigel 7, characterized by conceptual boundary shattering and improvisation. Jazz points harmonies with more than just the primary colors, but especially mood indigo. Open to intuition instead of following rules, musicians of the genre boldly express their spiritual energy with cathartic, squeakly bebops and hidey-hos. Hidey-ho. These soul vibes may even influence alien musical theater someday. Jazz hands. You can be up to your boobies in white satin with gardenias in your hair and a sugar cane for miles, but you can still be working on a plantation. Billie Holiday. Yeah, these guys are... we'll see once we get through what we've got. So, signal boost. The intercultural blending of traditions and styles in jazz music weaves together different groups of Dorloth in harmonious groove. Space is the place for the futuristic sound of ancient history. Regular signal. Born out of minority ethnic communities, jazz music is re-recorded by mainstream artists, but commercial retelling of another culture's story are usually a bit sharp on the blues notes. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Silence. With its jarring, dissonant composition and association with illicit activities and exclusive side street clubs, jazz music is prohibited on the airwaves. I'm kind of tempted. Let's try to... we can send out a signal, but I don't know, depending on the speed, it's going to reach anywhere by the time anyone can receive it. Because these guys were the first to advance technologically. And we've actually got, weird lights and stuff now on us. And look a little different. Let's do the signal boost, because why not? So really going hardcore on sending out signals into space. So yeah, it'll kind of show as it spreads, but I don't think anybody's going to be technologically advanced enough to actually receive it. Coalfields. Yeah, they've got 76 years. They'll probably be okay to advance to the next era. Maru, almost there. Currently 8%. Do we drop the population growth or go for resources? Let's go resources here. So staying at 30. Big poem recounting their history. Alright, Maru assemblies make it to the next age. So they were in the nautical age, we just barely got through that. Maru reached the industrial age. Maru start to study electricity, steam power, machine manufacturing. We kind of saw that before. We read that before. So they're actually not too far behind, surprisingly. Hey, we changed our clothes out. So wisdom. The age sees an explosion in the Maru potential for telecommunications via radio waves, mass-produced goods, including new medicines, can provide and improve the life of many. Advancement, industrial age. Hard work and ingenuity are needed to manage rapid urbanization without critically harming the planet. Train networks offer access to vast swaths. I think we'll do that. Power, tanks, bomber planes, and simple automatic weapons. They're relatively peaceful, so I mean it wouldn't be a huge deal to kind of do that for some extra points. But I think we'll just go with advancement and see how things look. So we should change to something other than coal here, but it didn't yet. Mars support large industrial areas through industrial production. Okay, no, they're totally screwed because they're still using coal. So they've got 31 years of resources, and that's it. That's a problem for the Maru, for sure. You guys have 38 years. Growth is really high. There's too many Batir. So I feel like... It's really in the way. Show me the Vakai. Still Stone Age here, the Vakai. Yeah, they're doing fine. Growth is okay. "72 years. These guys will advance past industrial. I think then it goes to like uranium or something, I think. But yeah, the Maru are kind of screwed. Alright, I think we're going to go ahead and cut it there. Things are not going well for the Maru, even though we made it through that age okay, and kind of ramped up our warfare, wiped out a bunch of the Maru, and even tried to preserve some resources. It just didn't quite work out. There's just too many Maru. Not enough coal. So we need a lot of technological advancement and a lot of death, probably. Alright, this has been more of Fermi Paradox. I've been Disturbing Puppet. Thanks for coming by. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Until then, have a good one.